memulaikan seminar kita, yaitu sesi yang keempat bersama dengan keluarga Bautista, di mana Brother Alan, kemudian ada Sister Irene, dan kita berbahagia juga karena pada saat ini Kenneth bersama-sama dengan kita. Demikian juga sahabat dari keluarga Bautista, Jocelyn boleh bergabung bersama dengan kita. Bagi saudara-saudari yang ingin mendengarkan dalam bahasa Indonesia, saya sampaikan sekali lagi, silahkan pilih interpretation di bagian bawah, kemudian pilih bahasa Indonesia. Kemudian setelah itu di mute original audionya agar dapat mendengarkan dalam bahasa Indonesia. Nanti akan difasilitasi oleh Brother Kevin dan juga Sister Elvira. Baik, pada malam ini kita akan membahas, jadi ini sudah sesi yang keempat di mana kita akan membahas khusus mengenai bagaimana kita sebagai orang tua dapat membantu anak-anak kita untuk bertumbuh dari sisi aspek sosial mereka. Tidak berlama-lama lagi, saya persilahkan kepada keluarga Bautista untuk dapat menyampaikan seminarnya. Oh ya, lupa satu lagi, maaf. Jika ada pertanyaan, nanti kita ada di sesi yang terakhir, kita ada diskusi dan tanya jawab. Jadi silahkan dipersiapkan jika sudah ada pertanyaan, mungkin bisa tulis di kolom chat ya, di chat box, ditulis ataupun nanti bisa bertanya langsung pada akhir sesi. Pada saat yang sangat berbahagia ini kami persilahkan kepada keluarga Bautista untuk dapat menyampaikan seminar parenting.
First of all, we want to wish everyone happy Valentine's Day.
Selamat Hari Hati. Is that right?
No.
No.
That's not Hari Hati. Thank you, Simatupang family, for your beautiful special music. We are actually family because I am a Sianturi. So we're still within the same clan, and I just want to praise you and thank you for that wonderful special music.
It's Sianturi, Simatupang, and Togatoro. See, I know.
Wow, okay. And I am so glad that Ken is here with us. Kenneth?
Hello, good evening, everybody.
So, and Jocelyn, who is here visiting us all the way from Florida. And Jocelyn is Kyle's special friend. And just want to let you know, so everybody's like, oh. And she was also homeschooled, just like Kyle and Kenneth. So she understands what it means to be a homeschool child.
She also has a master's degree in social work. So she's going to give us insights from personal perspective and also from an educational point of view. She's graduated from Southern Adventist University. And and she's come to visit us.
And before we are going to start our session for today, I just want to go ahead and touch base by, recapping what we spoke about last week. Part of the thing that we spoke about, which is how to have a relationship with God, how to teach our children to have a relationship with God. One of the points that we brought up is that we need to teach our children how to obey. Because obedience is a very important part of having a relationship with God. And so we received a question that we want to answer first before we go on into our session. The question is, how do we handle a teenager, which is about 16 to 17-year-old kid, who doesn't like to obey? I guess doesn't like to obey the parents because he thinks that they know everything already. What can we do as parents? Any practical suggestions aside from get down on our knees and pray?
And Kenneth and Jocelyn, if you guys want to jump in as well, just speak.
Well, first of all, just like what my husband is saying, there are different roles that we as parents have as our children grow up in different stages of their lives. So, at 16 to 17 years old, we as parents are counselors and transitioning to be a consultant. That means is that, first of all, we have to already establish an understanding that my child, I've already raised him up in a way that he or she should know to do what is right and to do what is wrong. And we as parents are just guiding them, helping them. But as far as their decision making, even God gives us a freedom of choice. God gives us the freedom to make our own choices. So we do also have to allow our children to choose for themselves. However, you're saying, okay, I get that. But why is it my child seems to not want to listen to what I have to say? In fact, about a couple of years ago, I was speaking to 3 boys. They were in the age group of, I believe, 15 to about 21 years old. And these are 3 brothers. And the problem that they have is that the dad feels exactly what the question of this person says. My kids don't want to listen to me. And so we had a, what do you call it? A family meeting with the dad, the mom, and the 3 kids. And well, they're not kids, but they're young men. And so I asked them the question, is it true? Is what your dad said is true, that you don't want to listen to him and that it doesn't seem you respect what he says, or you don't really care about his opinion, or it's like whenever your dad says something, you're like, whatever, that kind of an attitude? And they said, yeah, it's true. And I asked why. And he says, why do I need to listen to him when he doesn't even listen to me? He doesn't care what I think. He doesn't care what I do. He's not interested in who I am. All he wants to do is just to tell me what to do. He's just a dictator. And when I heard that, I saw the look of the dad's face. And he was actually taken back because he didn't realize that he is the one that is sort of like driving the relationship away between him and his kids. And so I asked the guys, the guys, so what is it that will help you mend this relationship between your dad and you so that you will be able to respect one another? And he says that I just want my dad to take an interest in me. Stop telling me what to do all the time. Stop telling me I am so bad at this, I'm so bad at that, I should do this, I should do that. Instead, get to know who I am. Get to know what I like. Get to know what I don't like. And then when you get to know me, then it's easier for me to listen to him. What do you think, Ken?
I think that that's very true. I think oftentimes as parents, they think like, because they're my kid, they are entitled to listen to me. But we have to realize that, what, as a parent, I'm not a parent, but as a parent, like you still need to listen to your kid because that matters and that goes a long way. And they're just people like everyone else.
Yeah.
What do you think, Jocelyn?
Everything you guys have said is very true. Just to reiterate that it's important to listen to your parents, but it's also important to listen to your children.
Mm-hmm.
Just making sure that the relationship is there from day one.
And so, mom and dad, if you're having struggle with this problem, instead of looking at as I'm the authority, you need to listen and obey to me, but instead go down to their level and try to figure out what can I do to mend this relationship so that there is a respect that is both between me as a mom to the child and child to me as a mom. So I hope that's a practical answer. And if you still need more on that, you can go ahead and either put it in the chat box or you can send a message to Charlotte directly. But we're here to help you, and we're hoping that through our practical answers, we'll be able to help you to have a better relationship with your kids.
And next week, I think it's going to be question and answers.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hoping that Ken and Kyle and hopefully other people can come and join us, and perspectives, male, female perspectives, things like this. All right?
Yeah. So Kyle and Kenneth will be the one that's on the spotlight next week because they are the fruit of the homeschool type of education, and also hopefully that they will be able to help you. If there's no other further questions, we'll go ahead and start with our sessions for this week. I'm just doing a share screen right now. Okay, our session is how to help your kids build social skills. We are all social creatures. God created us not to be alone. God created us that we can get along with one another. And your kids want to be a part of a team, a group, something that will help them realize that, hey, I'm likable. People like me. I want to be liked. Okay, that's a wrong one. Sorry. So back to our theme, which is Luke 2, verse 52. And Jesus, which is the one that we always want to use as our example, because he came here to show us how to live. And Jesus increased in wisdom and stature and in favor with God and man. So today is going to be the last session on how to help our children grow by helping them to know how to be in favor with men. So we've been talking about for the past 4 weeks how to help our children grow in a way that they are a well-rounded person. So we discussed about intelligence, and that intelligence is not just academically knowing how to read by the time they're 3 or knowing how to write by the time they're 2. That's not what we're just talking about, but it is also intelligence emotionally. How to handle themselves in understanding what their feelings or being sensitive to the feelings and the needs of the people around them.
We also talked about being health conscious, about what you eat is what you are, right? And it's important for us to teach our children, the health message and what we need to do to our bodies, because it affects them both spiritually, intellectually, emotionally. You are what you eat. You're a pork pig, right? That's what they say.
A pork pig, okay. And then last week we talked about how to help our children to grow spiritually, having that spiritual connection with God, which we as Christian mom and dad, this is so important to us because our life here in this world is just temporary. Our goal is to be with our family, to be with Jesus forever in eternity when Jesus comes the second time. And last but not least is how to help our children to build social skills so that they can be a blessing wherever they are, and they can be a blessing in the community that you are in. The reality is, not just us, but even our kids have struggles with lack of self-esteem. You may not realize it, maybe they're able to cover it well, but many kids actually struggle with a sense of, I am not enough. I am a dummy. I am not smart enough. I am not likable enough.
But that's not just with homeschoolers, though. We're talking in general, because there's also a lot of children that have gone through the normal schooling that do suffer from all these things. So let's just make a precedence that it is not just homeschoolers. It's also all kids in general go through this. However, we need to point out that there are ways that we can help our children overcome these things.
In fact, I think not just kids, but even as adults, we have, right? We also go through our seasons of lack of self-esteem. And also, another challenge that our kids have is that they easily give in to peer pressure. They want to do whatever everyone else is doing because they want to be a part of something. They want to be a part of a group. And unfortunately, sometimes what they give into are not good things. For example, my friends are drinking alcohol. For me to join in, I want to drink alcohol too.
Well, why don't we ask the kids? Why don't we ask kids how they overcome these things?
Ken, have you ever felt that there is peer pressure that you have to give into?
I think there's definitely peer pressure. Me personally, I feel like it hasn't had that big of an effect on me. Like I think it matters where your foundation is. So if you have strong principles, then you're not going to feel as much of a peer pressure, or it's going to be easier to walk away. But I do think that that comes over time, and I think that social skills is a big part of that. And I think that social skills is something that's kind of like your muscles. You know, in order for them to get big, you need to exercise. You need to work out. Social skills isn't something you have or you don't have. I think it's something that you can work on over time.
So why do you think some people gives in easily to peer pressure and some people don't? Ken?
I think it's two things. I think it's their foundation, where they're grounded. If they know what they want and who they are, then they don't need to be anyone else. And I think the second thing is being liked. You know, you want to be liked, you want to be loved by friends, and that's another reason why you might want to fall into peer pressure.
Okay. Well, also another challenge that our kids are going to, they constantly need approval of others. Like, for example, being in Instagram, you want to have a lot of followers, right? And what else? What other social medias do kids go through right now?
TikTok, Twitter.
With TikTok, what are they looking for?
The likes.
A lot of likes, right? Because the likes are where you feel that, oh, they approve me. They like my video. They like what I have to say. They like my picture. And because of the social media, we are so constantly hungry am I doing it right? Do they like it? Am I, to a point where it seems it matters more what people think about us than what we even think about ourselves. And another challenge that our children have is that they're being bullied. Right now, maybe they're not in a setting where they're at school, where they're actually being bullied by someone in the classroom. But bullying comes in different forms. Bullying can also happen even in a church setting. And has your children ever asked you about or tell you that they are being bullied? Because being bullied is actually one of a major problem that is happening in the society of our society now, not just children, but even adults. And many kids feel lonely. And sometimes they may look okay on the outside, right? Especially to their parents. But yet deep down inside, maybe your kids are feeling lonely, that they're not wanted by friends, they're not liked, they're not popular, they're not the one who are a leader. They seem to always follow wherever the popular people are. And sometimes they may even have this uncertainty in their heart, in their mind, thinking, how come no one wants to be my friends? I don't know if you're aware, but most young people now, they are constantly worried about what other people think of them. And it's what they term now social anxiety. A mom was sharing with me that her daughter has social anxiety. And part of the reason why her daughter had social anxiety is because when her daughter was in the second grade, she went on a sleepover. It was like a pajama party. It was a birthday party with her and her friends. And so she was in this pajama party, and you know how it is with pajama parties with girls, you talk and stuff like that. But the problem was they were always talking about other girls in the classroom. So they were talking, oh, you know how so-and-so is? Can you believe it, how she dresses? You know how so-and-so, I hate how she laughs. She laughs so weird. I mean, those kind of things that they were talking about, they were constantly talking about other people. And this made this mom's daughter self-conscious. She was thinking, if people are talking about my friends who it seems like, in the front, they're like, okay, I mean, they're not making fun of them in front of these people, but yet behind their back, they talk about all these things. She was thinking, then what are they saying about me? And so from that moment, they actually have a sense that, what do they think about me? Wow, about they're always talking about me. And from that, they create a social anxiety.
So, Jocelyn, what is social anxiety to you?
For me personally, it's going out into big group setting, before the pandemic, and constantly worrying about my appearance, maybe the way I approach people, if it upsets someone. And then it can alter the way I interact with people. And so when people ask me, oh, are you okay? It then makes me more self-conscious. So just making sure that you're already aware of how you feel before you go into a group setting will help in making sure that you act in a way that will make you happy.
And how have you kind of overcome that, or trying to overcome, or you're still trying to go through that?
I think the way that best helped me was putting myself in more of those kinds of situations, which seeing my friends more, or going out on Sabbath and spending time with them, or speaking with my family, just making sure that I get that social interaction.
Ken, how about you, son?
Yeah, no, I've definitely dealt with social anxiety. I felt like scared to when I'm around people. Like, am I saying the wrong things? Am I acting weird? I think the biggest thing is like Jocelyn said, just keep doing it and realize that you view yourself in a different way that other people view you. You know,
Mm.
uh,
And you're confident with that, the way you view yourself. Is that what you're saying?
right, right.
Do you think being an introvert is a reason why people have some social anxiety, or extrovert and introvert still may have to suffer from social anxiety?
I think everyone social has to deal with social anxiety. It's just a part of life, but it's not the end of the world. There's so much more, and and realizing and being okay with that step is, I think, a big part. No one's perfect, so everyone's gonna mess up at some time, and that's okay. And that's okay to feel awkward, I think. Um, but realize that it's just a stage, you know?
Mm.
Yeah. So, what can we do to help our children, since now we are open and realizing that these are the challenges that they may be going on inside them without you as parents realizing? Or maybe you as parents are suffering from it too. So, let's go ahead and take a look what practical ways, and there's just going to be 4 simple principles that we're going to talk about to help your children build social skill. Principle number 1, build confidence. How do we build confidence? So that our children will not be afraid to say no to something that is wrong, even though everyone in their friend group is urging them to do it. Because that's what giving into peer pressure is, where a group of people is trying to tell you to do something that is wrong, and you're just trying to hold on to what you think is right by saying no.
Hey, Jocelyn, how?
We'll go through it first of all. Psalms 119 verse 73 is a principle that our children needs to understand. We are all unique. Every single one of us are created differently. So Psalms 119 verse 73 says, your hands, which is God's hands, have made me and fashioned me. Therefore, because we are all unique, every one of us wants to be accepted for our uniqueness, right? I mean, I have 2 boys. They both have completely different personality. What is Kyle's personality like, Jocelyn?
He's definitely outgoing when he's in public. And then when he's around family and close friends, he can be a little more introverted, but he's definitely always laughing and making sure that everyone knows that he's there.
How are you different than your brother, Adet?
I feel like I'm more of the opposite. When I'm around other people, I tend to be more quiet, but around family and friends, then I'm a lot more louder. I think also another thing that we're different is that I'm a lot more competitive than Abang. So I like to compete for stuff. I like to win. Well, Abang
Yeah.
just kind of takes it easy.
And another thing that's different about them is that Kyle is more serious. He's more studious looking. And I'm talking studious looking because Kenneth is also studious, but Kenneth is more funny. He likes to make people laugh. He likes to have fun, right? Whereas Kyle is more like the serious type.
Yeah.
Any input as a dad?
Same oven, different personalities.
Yeah. And so we have to accept them for who they are.
Mm.
And mom and dad, don't compare your kids. Don't say to the adet, be like your abang. How come you're not like your abang? Or to the abang, Why don't you be like your adik? Why are you this and this and that? You know, when we compare our children to each other, then it makes them feel that, oh, you don't love me for who I am. You only love me if I meet certain expectations that you have for me.
And I feel like when you do that, it kind of builds up anger inside. It kind of hurts their self-confidence in the long run, right? Because they don't feel accepted. But it also makes them angry because it's like not angry just towards you, but also towards that person. Because they're like, man, I'll never be like that person. And so it definitely builds up over time. And I definitely know some people who felt that, that comparison, and that's definitely festered up over time.
And see, we as parents think that when we compare our children to someone who we think is better than our kids, we think that we are trying to boost up their motivation, to make them say, oh, yes, I want to be like that person. But instead, most often than not, it does the reverse, just like what Ken says. It makes them feel, oh, I don't like that person because I can never be as good as that person. And when our children feel accepted, and not only our kids need acceptance, we all need acceptance. I need to be accepted. And when we as parents know how to show that we accept our children for who they are, that in the family, you can be whoever it is that God created you to be, then there is a sense of belonging. You know what? I belong to my family. There is that understanding that no matter what happens, my brother, my sister has my back. Or my mom and dad will always back me up. What do you think, Ken?
Yeah. I think once you have that background that you know someone's backing you up, then that's a big confidence. Because say, right, I like to try new things. So maybe a new hobby. For example, I'm playing tennis, right? I feel like if my friends or my family are backing me up, I'm more likely to do new things. Because if I fail, I can always come back to my family and they're not going to reject me. They're not going to say, listen, you're trash. Listen, you failed. You're not good at this. And it's less condemning. It's more, it's okay. You could try something else.
Mm-hmm.
It's all right. You can grow somewhere else. And that definitely is more ways to grow than just simply putting them in a box or saying, you're not good at this, you're not good at that.
So it's simple. A, B, C. If you show acceptance and that your kids feel that they belong, then you will see that they will grow in confidence. Number 2 principle, resilience. The fact is, our children will fail. They will fall down. They will make mistakes. They will do things that annoy you, that makes you angry, that disappoints you. And that's how we are as humans. Every single one of us are in the process of being better. And this is a growing process that we do. But the question is, how do we as parents actually
Encourage resilience.
what is our attitude towards our kids when they fail, when they make mistakes? Because Proverbs 24 verse 16 says, though a righteous man falls 7 times, he rises again. So even a righteous person falls, right? I mean, every single one of us falls. But the key is he's able to get up again. And that's what we as parents should do. We need to be able to help our kids rise again. But the problem is,
you know, we try to fix it for our children. But like whenever the kids would fall down or scrape their knee, unless it's really serious, Ken, what did they always tell you to do then?
Oh, you always told me to get back up.
Did I pick you up?
No.
See? And how did your parents develop resilience with you, Jocelyn?
They made sure that I knew how to fix the mistake. They walked me through it. They didn't just leave me there to figure it out on my own, which I think is also important, just to not let them be there, but they helped me along the way. They
Mhm.
made sure that they stood by me and helped me.
And sometimes you
And
need to do. Go ahead, Ken. I'm sorry.
yeah, I think what Jocelyn said, it goes on both extremes, right? You either let them um, figure out their own mistake, do it on their own, or two, you just give them the answer.
Mhm.
And so I feel like the key is right in the middle where you help them along. You don't give them the answer. You help them along and understand their process, thought process so they can get that right answer.
Mhm.
You know, I was doing a seminar where a mom asked me, how do I get my son to wake up in the morning without me waking him up? Because I'm always struggling every morning to wake him up to go to school. And then I'm always so frustrated and angry before we get to school because he's so slow and I'm trying to get him hurry so he's not late. So I said, the solution is this. Tomorrow, or actually, I'm sorry, tonight, you tell your child, I'm not going to wake you up. You need to put on your own alarm and you need to wake yourself up because you are now responsible to wake up for yourself on your own so that you have enough time to go to school. And I said, after you do that, you follow through. If he doesn't wake up, don't wake him up. If he's late for school, then allow him to be late for school so that he understands the consequences. Well, the next day, because it was a series that I was doing, I asked the mom, so how did it go? He goes, I told my son that last night. And I said, I'm not going to wake him up. And I think they're supposed to leave at about 7 o'clock in the morning to go to school. And she says, it was already 6:35 and he's not awake. And I'm thinking to myself, should I wake him up? Should I wake him up or not? But he has sisters who's already waken up and, they woke up by themselves. They were brushing their teeth. They were getting ready to school. And she said it was 6:50. And she was still struggling as a mom. Should I wake him up or not? He goes, and finally at 6:55, he woke up. And when he woke up, he realized that everyone is already going to the car, getting ready, and to go to school. And when he woke up, he was angry. Mom, why didn't you wake me up? Mom, see, I'm late for school already. It's your fault. And all of that. And so the mom says that she stayed calm and she continued to drive the two sisters and just left this boy at home. But as she was driving, there's that guilt. Why did you leave your child at home? Why didn't you wake him up? Because now he's late to school. In fact, he may not be able to go back to school. And the sense of guilt kept on coming to her that she said she dropped off her daughters, and then she went back home to pick up her kid. So it's like when we continually always trying to fix our children's mistakes, or we're not allowing them to see the consequences of their actions, we're not allowing them to grow. We're not allowing them to be resilient through the choices that they make. So mom and dad, let your children grow. They'll never be strong unless they get hurt. They'll never learn without making mistakes. And they'll never be successful without a few failures. Because that's what success is all about. Learning falling, growing. And there may be some failures that they have to go through, but it helps them to endure.
And
So,
I think,
go ahead.
sorry, Mom. I think that's the key, right? Like nobody's perfect. You're gonna have bad days. You're gonna mess up. You're gonna fail. Everything's a part of life. It's everyone has that. And I think that's the key is realizing that it's okay. It's
Mhm.
okay to have a bad day. It's okay to fail. What matters, what matters is growing in the long run, coming back, accepting your kids so they can keep fighting. And no matter the failure, they'll just bounce back up again.
Exactly. So, for example, if they're in a new settings where they feel that no one's talking to them, where they feel that they're not wanted in the friend group, it's not going to crush them. It's not going to make them feel like I'm a total failure. Everybody hates me. There may be that sense of rejection, yes, but we are teaching them to be resilient and just say, we can choose another set of friends.
Because when they leave the house, like our children have left the house, they only come visit. Um, you're confident enough to say they'll be all right. They've gone through, and if they need help, they'll call, they'll give us a holler, and they say, oh, Dad, Mom, Dad, this and that. And it builds communication. They realize that they're accepted, they belong,
Mm-hmm.
and then they have the confidence to say, look, I need help, or
Mm-hmm.
this is my struggles today, and working through it. And when they were younger, I used to ask Ken and Kyle, go in the corner and think about what you did. And then what did you learn from it? And then we can discuss it, right? Ken, remember those days?
Yes, I do remember those days. Me and the corner became best friends.
So, Mom and Dad, don't worry when your child is going through bad times. Take a deep breath, let them go, and let them grow.
If children feel safe, they can take risks. And, life is about risks, right? And ask questions, make mistakes, learn to trust, share their feelings, and grow. The only thing that we want our children to do is obviously to be with us in heaven. That's my biggest prayer for my children and, their families later on, whatever the case may be. However, through that, it's a choice that they have to make. Every day they make thousands of choices. And if the foundation is right, you know, and you trust them and you share their feelings and you ask the right questions, encourage them, give them confidence, I think they'll be all right. What do you think, Jocelyn?
No, I definitely agree. It's important for, from my perspective as a child with my parents, that even if I went through a hard time, they were still there to help me. And even if they weren't physically with me, I could reach out to them and let them know, like, hi, I had a really bad day. Can I just talk to someone? Like, if any of my friends aren't available, but knowing that my parents were there for me and were always willing to help me made a big difference.
How about you, Ken?
Yeah, I think a good analogy is so at school we have a student association, right? And they're kind of like the governing body of the school. So they're like the president and stuff like that. And there's other roles. And so I applied for a finance role. So they're in charge of the accounting and stuff like that. And I remember I went to the interview and it went well. I felt like it went well, but I didn't get the job. And then I failed. And then I went for another position, parliamentarian. And I applied. I felt like the job interview went well. And then I failed. And this year, I'm running for our school's vice president. And, I feel like I'm not as scared of failure because I've already failed before. But it's like, okay, that's fine. I'll just keep shooting my shot. It doesn't matter if I fail. What matters is if I grow, There's so many famous people who failed thousands and thousands of times, right? Like Steve Jobs made other companies before Apple. Um, Amazon wasn't making any money for the longest time. And there's so many other people who failed, but what matters is if you bounce back. It doesn't matter if you fail. It doesn't matter if you look like a fool. It doesn't matter what other people think. It matters your end results at the end.
But how did you get through that process though? What made you resilient?
Yeah, I think what matters is the base, feeling accepted, feeling that, if I fail, I'm not going to be the laughing stock of everyone. My parents are still going to support me. My friends are still going to support me. They're not going to make fun of me. And I think that's what matters the most about going back up.
And then we need to help our children understand the principle of Philippians 4, verse 13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So even if we do fail, you can get up again because Jesus is there with our children every step of the way. And through Jesus, they may be able to do something better the next time. Number 3, be kind. This is something that's important to teach our children. How to be kind to others, how to be a friend that you want to be friends with. Because the golden rule is
do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
Right? If you want your friend to be kind to you, you need to be kind. If you want your friends to always be there for you, you need to be there for your friends. So it's important to teach our children to be kind, to always be ready to be helpful. Be a kind of person, teach your children that they are not the center of the universe. Not everything revolves around them. Instead, teach them to be sensitive to the needs of the people around them.
So when we say words to our children like, oh, you're the greatest, or you're the best, or you're going to be this and that, what are we really doing to them? Are we teaching them to be more selfish? Because our human nature is always being selfish, right? It's being self-centered. However, it's contrary to God's principles. When we start praising our children, of course, we're all proud of our children and we uphold them certain ways, but are we doing more damage than good?
So in what ways do you think, in a practical way, Jocelyn, that we can teach our children, like as parents, to be helpful, to be kind, to be aware?
I think the first step is leading by example. If you're teaching your children how to be helpful, the best way is to show them. So if you see someone who needs help on the street, just showing them a good way to help them. Or if you know someone who needs help, just in general, like friends or family, being willing to go above and beyond for them is helpful. I know one time when I was in middle school, it was a really small church school. The classroom had about 10 children, so all of us knew each other very well. And one of them wasn't the most popular, he wasn't the coolest, and he was easily picked on just because of the way he looked and the way he spoke sometimes. And it got to a point where I started to get a little frustrated with my classmates because it just kept hounding at him just for the way he was being, and just wasn't the most athletic either, so that was mostly the topic that was happening. And I just was done with it. I was like, guys, it's not the right thing to do. You need to stop picking on him. He didn't do anything. And they started, coming back at me with like lashes, like, oh, you like him, don't you? That's why you're standing up for him. And I'm like, no, I'm just trying to be a good friend. Like, you shouldn't be treating him this way just because you don't have anyone else to pick on. So my parents helped show me that that was a good thing that I did. That way I could understand that that's what I should be doing for other humans.
Okay. How about you, Ken? What's a tip that can be done?
Yeah, I think going along with what Jocelyn said, lifting people up, being there for them, that's definitely the key. Supporting, I think, is the biggest thing, because if they feel supported, if they feel grounded, then they can lift off.
Okay. And number 4, last but not least, sharing is caring. We need to teach our children to share with others, share what they have, especially for those who are an only child, who have only one child, because they get everything firsthand, first pick, but they need to learn how to share with others because sharing is caring. Yeah. Because Proverbs 18 verse 24 says, a man that has friends must show himself friendly. So you need to be a friend first, right? So Ken, how did you learn to make friends? Because you were always in a homeschool setting when you start going to Heritage Academy.
Right. I was definitely super nervous, especially kids my age. I think it went like this. I kind of followed around what Abang did. I
What
learned
did
from
I do?
Abang to make friends. Yeah, to make friends, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I just kind of followed around what he did. I made his friends. I made friends with the people he made friends with, and I kind of learned that way. But I think one of the biggest things I also learned was just to listen. A lot of people like to talk, especially about themselves, and so all you got to do is just listen to them, listen to what they want to say, and that definitely helped me make more friends, because people like a good listener.
Mm-hmm.
How about you, Jocelyn?
For me, I definitely did something similar, but I'm the older sibling out of my sister and I. So when I went to academy, it was me trying to understand everyone in my class. So I was very observant. So there were a lot of cliques in my class, and I had the opportunity to like mingle with each and every one of them. But towards second semester, I was able to finally hone in on the friends that I wanted. So I did a lot of just observing and getting to know everyone before I actually made really good friends that would last, for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and reaching out, I think, is also a good way. Teach your children how to reach out. For example, for me personally, I'm an introvert. I'm actually scared talking to strangers, literally, because I feel like I don't know what to say. I don't know what the right words. Whereas with my husband,
I'm an introvert.
yeah, right.
You don't believe me?
No, I don't. He talks to everybody. He talks to strangers. And sometimes I'm like, honey, that person doesn't even want to talk to you. Why bother? It's like that's what's going into my mind. But no, with him is like he talks to everyone. So it's important for us to also, if to help our children to be out there and to be the first one who reach out and to talk to someone. And then when they are talking, allow your kids, just like what Ken says, to be a good listener. Because you don't have to be the center of attention all the time. And it's also good for our kids to learn how to listen. And what are listening skills? Pay attention when somebody is talking. Look at them at the eye. Think about what they hear. Look interested. And don't interrupt when that person is speaking. Stay focused. And then when it's your turn to talk, then you talk. So teaching our children these simple social skills will help them to grow, and they can also be a blessing to others. Because Proverbs 11 verse 25 says, those who bless others will be abundantly blessed. So we hope that through these practical, simple principles, you'll be able to help your children to grow socially so that they can be a well-rounded person.
And if you have any questions, you can address it to either Jocelyn or Ken, and we can address them.
Amen. Back to you, host.
Baik, terima kasih banyak untuk pembahasannya. Sangat praktikal, praktikal apa yang disampaikan ya. Baiklah, mungkin ada yang ingin bertanya langsung ataupun ingin bertanya mungkin masih malu-malu bisa di chat, ataupun mungkin mau bertanya langsung bisa langsung raise hand.
Udah dari enggak.
Oke, apakah ada yang ingin bertanya?
I want to ask a question to Jocelyn and Kenneth.
Rebecca deh.
Okay, so Jocelyn and Kenneth, do you think that you have a spatial pace that you have to catch up in social aspect when you enter academy? What do you think? Or you just it's everybody just like actually everybody is experienced that whether they are homeschool or they are going to regular school, or you feel that the homeschooler will need to go through that spatial phase that you need to really adjust first to become more just like everybody else. What do you think?
For me, it was really important that I just try and integrate myself as early on as possible. So my parents put me in church events, maybe some pathfinders, or getting to know all of my peers at Sabbath school. But everyone's pace is a little bit different. Thankfully for me, I had that while I was homeschooled, so it wasn't a very hard transition. Just making sure that your kids are able to feel that they have support outside of the family system as well. They can build those friendships, and the church is a great way to start that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people say that we go to school for the interactions, right? We go to school to make friends, but you can make friends so many other ways, not just through school, through swim club, through a basketball club, through ping pong club. There's so many different ways that kids can get also talk with other kids. I think that's definitely key though, to help grow that relationship. I think another thing that helped me was when my mom would come and we'd go somewhere to church, for example, and someone would ask me, "What are you doing, Kenneth?" My mom or someone would ask my mom, "What is Kenneth up to?" She wouldn't answer for me. She'd just say, "Ask him." And so on that, I would just talk for myself. I'd say, I'm swimming a lot, or right now I'm just doing my homeschool. And so realizing that I have a voice for myself, I could talk for myself, helped me a lot as well. There's a lot of different ways besides school that we can get interactions to make new friends, to get with other kids. And I think that will help us a lot as kids grow.
You probably notice I allow the children to answer for themselves. You don't have to answer everything for them. You don't have to be their voice. They have their own mouth, and trust me, they have a lot to say. And allow them to speak. Allow them to have their independence. Allow them, to say what's on their mind to their friends or to others, to adults. It just makes them well-rounded. That's what I think.
And I think that's kind of a risk at the same time for a parent, because what if the kid says something ridiculous, What if he says something not very smart? But that's okay. That's okay, because they're kids and they're gonna grow and they're gonna make mistakes. They're gonna say some foolish things sometimes, but that's all part of the process,
Yeah. I remember a conversation one time Ken was having with this lady, and he goes, "Oh, does your dad drink?" "Oh yeah, he drinks beer," he said to this lady. And I'm like, "Drink beer? I don't drink beer." But he forgot to say root beer. And I was like, "Son, do I really drink beer?" He goes, "Yeah, Dad, root beer." But he forgot to say the root to this. So the lady thinks I'm drinking beer. But, we had to explain, and we grew from that. And it's just, just clarifying, right? Because kids will tell the truth. and it's all right. You just have to guide them through conversations.
I think also sometimes a mistake that we make as parents is that we try to justify our children. Like, for example, when an adult approaches our kid and our children doesn't want to respond, we say, oh, he's shy, yeah, it's because he's shy. See, when we say that, then it makes the child feel, yeah, I am shy, so I don't have to try. It's okay.
Or my parents will speak for me, cover up for me.
Oh, I like this. They can hear you.
They can hear me. They can hear me. Okay. Yeah. Okay, any other questions?
Does that answer your question, Sunita?
Yes, thank you. But while waiting for other parents to ask another question, can I ask another question? Sorry, Kenneth, because I have a teenager boy here, so I feel like I wanna ask. I want him more through you.
That's right. That's great.
Yeah, okay. So, uh, I want to ask that is when you are a child, family is your number one shelter, right? You feel like it's enough. You don't need you although you don't have many friends out there, having a family is enough for you. Your mom and daddy is everything. But when you enter teenager age, there will be there will you I don't know if you feel it too, but most teenager will feel that they needs to be they need to be accepted as well for their other teenagers in their age, so they try to find more friends and outside the family or outside the main community, and then the teenagers or have you will find that they read the different things, they believe on the different things, they eat different things, and then they listen to different music, but somehow you feel like you need to be accepted in that community too, right? Because maybe some people see them as cool, so it's you know what I mean, right? So is there any like a desire to be part of that community, and how you struggle with being accepted and by being a really keep on standing on your principles that have been taught by the parents? How do you manage the situation?
Yeah, that's a big thing. I remember, I think, yeah, when you go to high school, you really want to be accepted, you know? Parents and family, some reason, just isn't as important as it was before. Um, I think, though, that I remember when I was in high school, I wanted to be cool. And so all the cool kids at my school would like rap, like rap music and stuff. And so I used to do like rap with other guys too, just because I wanted to be cool too. I wanted to be accepted, like how you were saying. But I think it gets to a point where you realize if your foundation is strong, okay, if your foundation with your parents is strong, you realize that, man, you know what? That's not me. That's not me. That's not who I am. And so there was definitely a time in high school where I was with the wrong crowd. I got in trouble in school because I was hanging around the wrong people. We're doing the wrong stuff, and um, then it clicked in my mind that, you know what, this isn't really who I am. This isn't how I raised. But I had to fall into that pit to realize that I need to get back up. So as a parent, right, all you could kind of do is give them that foundation, and and maybe they fall into the pit, maybe they have a phase, but you gotta hope and pray that they come back. But what matters is your part. If they're with the wrong crowd, and you just keep hounding them and keep telling them, no, this is wrong, you guys can't be doing this all the time, you know then they're just going to build rebellion, and more rebellion is going to grow. But saying, okay, how is that going? Yeah, what are you guys learning? What are you guys um, ask them questions and guide them in the right way. I think that will go a longer way than just condemning them, saying, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong. But just guiding them is makes the bigger impact, because I've definitely fallen into that trap. And man, I've wanted to be cool for a while, so I know what that is like.
Thanks,
How about
thank you, Kenneth.
Mhm.
Did you want to say something, Jocelyn?
I can. I mean, I think it's definitely important to remember, like as a parent, that you have to let them go, especially as they get older, which I'm sure is very hard. I don't have any kids, but like from my experience, my parents were just like, I never actually went through a really rebellious stage, but I did go through a stage where I just wanted my friends more than my parents, just because I didn't get that when in high school early on. But they were there just, to make sure that they wanted me to know that they loved me and that they're always there for me. And so eventually I came back around, but I'm sure as a parent, the tendency just to stop them where they are before they continue in the bad direction might hurt more than what you want them to change.
And to the question about, do we need to change our child who is an introvert to an extrovert? That's a great question, because I kind of think of it like this, right? Um, there's there's a stadium, right, in Indonesia, in Bung Karno. There's a stadium for the football stadium, and when you go to the stadium, there's the football team, right? There's the coaches, there's the people who sell the food, the vendors, there's the people who clean, and there's also the people who attend, right? There's many different people, and they all play their own roles. If we went to the stadium, but there was no cleaning people, it would be nasty. It'd be terrible, right? If we go to the stadium and there was no coaches, there would be no organization. I think in life, there's so many different people. There's introverts, there's extroverts, there's introvert extroverts, there's extroverted introverts. There's so many different people, and everyone has their own role. Not everyone can talk a lot, not everyone can be the spotlight, and that's okay. That's the key. That's okay. Everyone has their own roles, and that's fine. Just roll with it. As a parent, it's okay if your kid is shy, but teach him that, you know what, you can talk up. You have a voice for yourself. Don't be scared to say what's on your mind.
Okay, thank you, Kenneth, for the answer directly. Yeah. Or maybe Sister Cindy wanna ask more, because the question from Sister Cindy.
Well, you are right, Ken. I'm a very extrovert person. So as a parent, I was like, well, what is wrong with my education that my kid is a very introvert one? And I'm like a person who like to be in the spotlight. And that's so very, yeah, I don't think it's right. And to push, and to pity our children, to pity our children if they are not as outgoing as we are. Yeah, you are right. I mean, it's just about, I think there is still an improvement that we can make, though, right, Ken? On how they can actually accepting themselves, and, you know, not to be so shy, don't you think?
Right. I do think that. For example, like me and my brother, I like to talk a lot more than my brother does. He's definitely a lot more quiet. Um, but You know, I think when I see kids around, especially like at church or something, they're on their phone, right? They're playing video games, and they get shy because they don't want to talk to anyone because because it's much more fun to play Clash of Clans, to play Call of Duty, than it is to talk to other people. But I feel like you can make steps in that scenario, right? You can't just say, "Oh, he's just an introvert. He doesn't want to talk to people." I think you can make steps as a parent to maybe take their phone away, you know, or teach them that it's okay to talk for themselves. There's definitely uh, a difference between being an introvert and just like I guess like being on your phone. There's definitely a difference in that. I think that as a parent, you need to you need to guide your children to learn where it is that they can, there's a time and place for everything. Time to be on your phone, time to talk to other people, and there's a time to have fun and there's a time to play. And I think when they learn that there's a time for everything, that they'll be more willing to talk up or maybe to be quiet.
Yeah, 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 you're right.
Okay, thank you. Oke, maybe mungkin ada lagi pertanyaan yang lain.
Yes, I would like to ask some questions.
Okay, yes, please.
Good evening, Bautista family. Thank you so much for. I just joined tonight. I regret that I missed the session before for some reason. I thank you so much for sharing with us tonight. Amazing. I mean, I would say that you did a great job for kids. And Kenneth and Jocelyn, yeah. I'm sorry. How old are you, Jocelyn? How old are you, Jocelyn?
23.
How old is Jocelyn? Huh? 23. And about you, Kenneth?
I'm 20.
Oh, 20. Wow, amazing. I just want to ask this question. I mean, to see how confident you are. And Jocelyn, like, Mom, like you don't have to do anything anymore right now, right? They just did it. I mean, they passed all these struggles and everything we are going through right now. I have 9, 10, and 12 years old right now. In this stage, you guys, yeah, I mean, you know that your experience before, right? All the challenges and struggles as a parent. My question is, when is the time when you actually, of course, there's a time when as a teenagers, right? When you have all that peer pressure, just like you shared earlier, right? Of course, it's a time when you have to come to the point when actually, what am I going to say? Sorry, my okay. Is the man usually get through all this struggle of being a teenager? You know, like you trying to find your true self, like that, get all peer pressure actually, and then you decide just earlier, like you share, right? And I remember whatever my parents taught me and make all that good decision, right decision, right? As a teenager right now, like my son right now, 12, I know he's learning a lot. Like, what should I be? Like, where should I, which side that I have to listen and learn right now, right? As a teenager, right? Because a lot of voice, a lot of experience, he is in the stage, we are learning where, right? It is already past all this time. When is the time? I just want to know. I know you right now, it says like, you said very confident, right? Like how you choose your friends, how you feel a confidence when you go to high school, right? I just like to hear from you or from mom and dad. When is it actually the point when the kids actually finally come to the point when they finally apa sih help me here finally Charlotte help me here Charlotte menerima situasi apa bisa apa sih namanya menyesuaikan. So what is the right word for
adjusting the situation?
Yeah.
Adjusting to the situation or accept the situation?
Yeah, accepting the process, yeah. Because like when you get through a lot of pressure, whether I'm gonna which period that I'm gonna choose like that, and finally you come to the point when you actually make all that good decision, and you know I stand on my principle like that. Just like, of course you get through all that thing, right, mom and dad, right? And then finally like, they did it. I mean, like, wow. I was like, I'm just looking at you, Kenneth, as I was so impressed or so confident to answer all the questions. That's a process for that, right? Okay.
Right.
I hope I didn't confuse you, mom and dad. Thank you.
So I think personally that for me, I think one thing is like, I'm definitely not a perfect kid. I was definitely not a perfect kid. I got in trouble, I got spanked just like any other kid. I got in timeout. So I wasn't a perfect kid, and I wasn't always or confident. But I think my turning point was when I went to high school. When I went to high school, I had to make new friends. There was a lot more friend groups. There was a lot more kids my age, and I had to figure out, where do I fit in, right? Who am I? Who am I as a person? I think as a parent, the role is, going back to the presentation, is believing in your kid, accepting them for who they are, so that they're willing to have confidence. So when you accept them for who they are, they're willing to go out there and make new friends, and they're willing to go out there and try new friend groups. But when they're accepted for who they are, they'll realize, you know what, this one's not for me. This one's not for me. This one, yeah, I don't really connect with these people. And they're able to try out new things and realize that you guys are, as a parent, are the foundation. And so they're able to go out and they're able to try new thing and try new thing and try new thing. And if they fail, they can always come back. But if they succeed, then that's good. Then they're over here. Maybe they fit with these people, and that's okay. But realizing as a parent is that you're the foundation here of them branching out and becoming more confident. So as a parent, the role is to play the foundation, to be there for them and to support them. That's the big thing, to support them no matter what happens. And when they do go out there and they fail, they can always come back to you. But I think when they go out there and they're going to try new things, they're going to try being with many different types of people. And some people they might like, some people they don't like. As a parent, I think the biggest thing is to support them.
Yeah, that's definitely where the trust comes in from the parent and the child. That's where it really gets tested. And you need to trust that the beliefs and the core values that you've taught your children come into play.
And that's not easy for us parents.
Because like for me, my parents, I grew up Adventist. So my parents told me, drinking is wrong. That's what you shouldn't do. And so I believed that. So when I went to high school, when I was observing all the friend groups that I was trying to insert myself into, there were quite a few that were very open to drinking, especially on Sabbath or purchasing things on Sabbath. And I wasn't okay with that. So my parents had to trust that that's what I was willing or not willing to do. And so that's how, I know it must be hard from a parent's perspective, but especially like for what Ken is saying, when we entered high school, that's when we really had to find out who we were as individuals and how we wanted to go about life later on.
And it was a process that you went through, right? It wasn't like an immediate thing that, yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Oke. Baik, terima kasih. Apakah masih ada lagi? Oke, ada satu pertanyaan di sini. Saya akan bacakan atau mungkin sudah bisa langsung dijawab oleh Ate dan Kuya. Ada pertanyaan di mana, during this pandemic, all children facing same problems who attend the regular and homeschooler. They couldn't socialize and play together with their friends due to social distancing and so on. Do we as a parent should facilitate the Zoom meeting or other virtual meetings to inspire their social skill?
I think Zoom meetings or any virtual meetings are nice to have, especially, during the pandemic, like the question is saying. When it comes to facilitating them, I think it definitely just depends on the age of your child. I know that I have cousins who are doing homeschool right now, but when they interact with their friends, they have to do it through Zoom or like FaceTime if you have an iPhone. But the parents facilitate it if it gets out of hand. So like they could be in the kitchen on the Zoom phone call, but you could be in the living room cleaning. But making sure the door's open, that way you can still hear what is going on. You don't have to physically be there watching everything.
Okay. Yeah, maybe.
Ken, what do you think, Ken?
Yeah, I think that it's important to not only, I mean, for me personally, as a kid, I knew that a lot of times my friends would come over, and it's because my parents invited their parents, would come over to their house. And so because my parents were friends with their parents, then it wasn't like me personally inviting them over. And so I think you kind of do that with Zoom, like maybe like have a couple times a week where they can get together with their friends and just connect all the friends together so they can hang out. Because I know for me, when I was little, I was too scared to ask people to come over to the house or to ask people to hang out with me. So I think parents can facilitate in that way.
Yeah, and we are actually social kind of people. We love having people over our house. And yes, during the pandemic, you may not be able to have a huge group, but just inviting, for example, one family and just, having fun with them, it would be some good ways for your kids to have social interactions. Because, God created us to be around people. God created us to make us feel good when we talk to somebody, when we can share with someone, when we can have fun with somebody. So allow those moments to happen, Mom and Dad.
Yeah, teach them to. Okay.
Is there any other questions?
There's more.
Oh, there are more questions. Last one maybe.
Was there a moment
Oh, yeah,
where
that
you
is a good
failed
question.
to trust your parents? I
Yes.
think that the children needs to answer that.
Whoa, dun dun dun.
Can be nice.
I'm kind of confused. Like, what do you mean by fail to trust your parents?
Yes, it's mostly, teenagers, they like to hear their peers, right? Their friends. And was there any moment whereby you think that your parents might not be the first to support you on your problem, on your matter that you are seeking through for an opinion, for a counseling? So I just want to know, have you ever had an experience where you failed to trust your parents to be that support, like you just have said, right? When was that, and why, and how do you regain that? How do you try to mend it? so that you can trust your parents again. I'm just asking here, so I hope Kuya and Atya would not, would not be angry on this. I just
No, I would like to know. I want to know when what did happen.
don't get angry. I think he's he's not ready to share in front of other people.
No,
No,
you can be honest.
honestly, I don't really remember a time where I failed to have the communication with my parents or to feel support. So I don't know if I can really answer that question because I don't think I have a personal feeling of that. I think that the
Wow.
closest thing I got to was I remember one time my mom took my stuffed animal and she said she didn't have it. She lied to me. She said she didn't have my stuffed animal because I left him on the ground. And so I was very angry when I found out that she had it. And so that's the only time I could think of where I didn't trust my parents. But I feel like that's definitely in the wrong context. And I think maybe Jocelyn would be better at answering that question.
Actually, to my defense as a mom, I had to teach Ken to be responsible with his things because he is the baby of the family and he does tend to depend on his brother always taking care of him. So yes, I lied when he asked me, Mom, where's my stuffed animal? And I said, I don't know. And the reason is because I wanted to teach him a lesson that if you don't take care of your things, you will lose them. But I remember that day when he found the stuffed animal in my closet hidden. And he was like, oh, Mom, you told me you did not, you didn't know where it is and you hid it from me. And yeah, I had to humbly say, yeah, I made the mistake of lying to you. But there was a reason why. But it doesn't mean that it's okay to lie. I'm not saying that. However, Kenneth was able to get over it. Right, Ken?
And Jocelyn.
I'll try to answer it. I never personally experienced a moment where I didn't trust my parents either. But if I got into the mind of like a child who's very rebellious, I think that would probably be the moment where they would have issues trusting their parents because that's when they're trying to figure out who they are, right? So they have to figure out, do I actually believe what my parents have taught me? And if so, I have to learn it for myself. That's the beauty of like having the experience as humans to learn, and that you have your parents when you build that good trust and support that you can lean on them when you need it. So I hope that kind of answers it.
Yeah.
Did I ask forgiveness? Ken, do I ever ask forgiveness from you? Answer that question, please.
And I feel like for me personally, she definitely asked for forgiveness. She said, I'm sorry. But I kept that in. I was very angry for a while because, I think as a child, your right and wrong is your parents. Your right and wrong is your parents because that's all you see, right? They tell you what's right, they tell you what's wrong. And so if they do something wrong, it's like double the pain. It's double the pain. It's like, how could you betray me like that? And so I think that's what's so scary about being a parent is there's a lot of responsibility. There's a lot of responsibility on your part to your kid. And so I was definitely upset for a while. But I learned to let go because, Jason eventually came back to me and he's still my best friend. So, yes.
But I, as a parent, I don't hesitate to say I'm sorry when I know I'm wrong. It does take a lot of humbling. It's not easy. But I came to realize that if I personally don't ask forgiveness, how can I expect my child to ask for forgiveness when they do something wrong?
Address the issue with the question for Jocelyn.
There's a, yeah. Is there anything else that we forgot?
No, I think that's all.
Okay.
Okay.
Happy.
Yeah.
Actually, I have
Okay.
several more questions, but I will keep
Okay.
for next week.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. Next week we
Right?
have meeting special for question and answer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you very much, the Bautista and Jocelyn also. Terima kasih banyak ya untuk semua seminar yang sudah dibawakan, insight-insight pengalaman sharing yang sudah disampaikan. Terima kasih juga kepada teman-teman semua, Bapak Ibu yang boleh bergabung pada malam hari ini. Jangan lupa ya, minggu depan kita ada meeting yang sama, membahas khusus untuk sharing ya, pertanyaan, question and answer, kemudian mungkin ada discussion yang bisa kita buat seperti malam ini. Karena waktulah yang memisahkan kita ya, kita punya batasan waktu, jadi silahkan nanti bisa diajukan pada minggu depan. Dan kami terbuka untuk donasi secara sukarela, sumbangan untuk membantu ministry atau pelayanan yang dibuat oleh keluarga Bautista, di mana bisa disalurkan lewat nomor rekening yang ada di chat box ya. Bapak Ibu bisa menyalurkan sumbangan lewat nomor rekening tersebut. Sekali lagi kami mengucapkan terima kasih banyak atas kehadiran dan juga atas partisipasi dari Bapak Ibu semua, dan terlebih kepada speaker kita, The Bautista dan juga Jocelyn yang bisa bergabung pada malam hari ini. Baiklah, untuk menutup acara kita pada malam hari ini, saya mengundang Sister Ellen untuk boleh menutup di dalam doa.
Mari kita sama-sama bersatu dalam doa. Allah Bapa yang berada dalam kerajaan surga, Allah yang maha baik, maha pengasih, dan maha penyayang, terpujilah namamu atas kebaikan dan kemurahan-Mu. Engkaulah Tuhan Allah kami, pencipta kami dan penebus kami. Bapa yang berada dalam kerajaan surga, kami datang kembali kepadamu, mengucapkan syukur dan terima kasih atas kesempatan yang Kau berikan kepada kami masing-masing yang hadir di dalam Zoom meeting ini, di dalam seminar parenting ini, atas firman yang telah kami dengarkan melalui keluarga Bautista beserta Jocelyn ya Bapak. Bapak di sorga, kami merasa terberkati ya Bapak. Atas firman ini, biarlah Roh Kudus-Mu selalu hadir dalam hati kami masing-masing yang mendengarkan ya Bapak, agar kami boleh mengingat akan firman-Mu. Dan juga kiranya kebijaksanaan dari surga hadir dalam kami, hati kami sebagai orang tua ya Bapak, yang memiliki anak-anak yang telah dititipkan kepada kami. Kami rindu ya Bapak, kami membesarkan anak-anak kami sesuai dengan kehendak-Mu ya Bapak. Bapak, kami manusia yang penuh dengan kesalahan dan dosa ya Bapak. Banyak segala rintangan yang kami hadapi di dunia ini, tapi kami percaya firman-Mu selalu menuntun kami. Biarlah kami memiliki hati yang selalu menyerahkan hati kami, kepercayaan kami hanya ke dalam tangan-Mu saja ya Bapak. Engkaulah yang memberi, Engkaulah yang menuntun kami ya Bapak, kepada kami masing-masing keluarga dengan hadirnya anak-anak di dalam keluarga kami ya Bapak. Bapak di surga, sebagaimana Engkau sabar terhadap kami, biarlah kami pun boleh memiliki kesabaran untuk menghadapi anak-anak kami, menuntun anak-anak kami, mendidik anak-anak kami ya Bapak, sehingga mereka dapat bertumbuh sesuai dengan kehendak-Mu, baik pikiran, perkataan, perbuatan, fisik, mental, dan pikiran mereka sesuai dengan kemampuan mereka ya Bapak. Kami juga mendoakan anak-anak kami, biarlah Roh Kudus-Mu dan malaikat-Mu selalu menjaga dimanapun yang berada, menuntun dalam pikiran mereka. Pada saat kami memberikan firman kepada mereka, biarlah firman itu selalu ada di dalam hati mereka ya Bapak. Bapak di surga, kami terima kasih atas keluarga Bautista dan juga Jocelyn yang berbagi atas pengalaman mereka, atas tuntunan Engkau terhadap mereka ya Bapak, sehingga melalui perjalanan kehidupan keluarga Bautista beserta Jocelyn boleh menjadi pelajaran bagi kami ya Bapak.
dan juga memberkati pelayanan mereka, memberkati rencana kehidupan mereka, memberkati pekerjaan mereka, memberkati pendidikan anak-anak mereka dapat berjalan sesuai dengan kehendak-Mu ya Bapa, dan mereka memperoleh berkat dari surga sehingga mereka dapat menyalurkan berkat pada orang-orang di sekitar mereka ya Bapa. Bapa di surga, kami hendak menutup acara ini, kiranya Engkau menyertai kami di tempat kami masing-masing, memberikan kami istirahat yang cukup pada malam hari ini, ataupun melakukan segala kegiatan kami selanjutnya ya Bapa. Bapa, dosa kami begitu banyak Bapa, kiranya Engkau mengampuni segala dosa kami. Kami percaya Engkau memberikan yang terbaik bagi kami, karena Engkau adalah Allah yang baik, yang tidak melihat akan kesalahan kami ya Bapa. Dan Bapa di surga, kiranya Engkau menyempurnakan doa ini, karena di sini kami berdoa di dalam nama Yesus Juru Selamat dan Penebus kami. Amin.
Baik, terima kasih. Sampai di sini acara kita pada malam hari ini. Kami ingatkan kembali lagi untuk minggu depan kita boleh bersama-sama kembali hadir karena minggu depan lebih lengkap ya personelnya. Selain Kenneth yang akan hadir, anak yang pertama ya lupa saya namanya.
Kyle.
Benar. Kyle juga akan hadir. Kyle juga akan hadir, jadi akan lebih lengkap. Jadi bisa langsung bertanya ya kepada Kyle dan Kenneth. Dan mungkin juga Jocelyn juga bisa hadir ya pada minggu depan ya. Selamat malam dan Tuhan memberkati kita semua.
Thank you. Good night.
Terima
May God
kasih.
bless you.
Thank you.